So let me quickly introduce myself. So my name is Bhante Cunda, and I've been a monk for roughly 12, actually 13 years. 13 years? Yes, 13 years. Yes. And so another talk. Yep, and usually I'll talk about topics that's maybe to do what's happening at the moment around the world. Also to one's practice. After the talk, I'll open up to everyone for any questions and answers. So as we know, things are always very uncertain with COVID and around the world. And we have another lockdown in Victoria again. I think this is our 6th lockdown. So it is hard when things are not going right and things are going downhill a bit. But it's part of our training as a Buddhist monastic and a Buddhist practitioner that we train ourselves not to believe in our thoughts too much. Because if we get caught up with our thoughts, then it's not really good for the mental well-being. Because by our thoughts, our speech, our action, and our behavior all comes from the mind. So our mind is basically the forerunner of everything. So wherever we think, wherever we say, wherever we do, there's always a result. Yep. So it may cause unskillful action, speech and mind, and it leads to suffering to oneself and to others. So it's always very important to always learn to control our thoughts and our feelings, our emotion, that it does not lead to fear, anxiety, worry, and too much hopelessness. Because as a Buddhist monastic and also a practitioner, one of our main practice is to watch and guard over our thoughts and our emotion. Because if we don't do that, then unwholesome behavior will arise in our heart that will lead to suffering to ourselves and especially other people. So we have seen lately up in the news where when things don't do well, people are just really unhappy, and sometimes they can express those behavior that may lead to a lot of harm and problem. So I do remember when I was a layperson, before I was Buddhist, I used to basically really go for my emotion and my thoughts. But as a layperson, we are basically trained by society to really make our will, our thoughts, and our thinking strong, so we can get ahead in life, in study, and really go for what we need in life. So basically really go for our desire and our wants. But later on I found as I got older and older, it just caused me more confusion and more headache. And it actually led to quite a bit of anxiety in my heart. And I was finding it was hard to sleep because I was getting really caught up with my thinking so much that I started to have anxiety and panic attack. And also my hope went down a bit. So then I come across meditation and Buddhist teaching. They say basically life is always up and down, and there is suffering. And when suffering arises, we must understand the cause and condition. So basically the Four Noble Truths. And existence, there is suffering. And the cause is holding on to things and wanting things that we cannot have, or not wanting things that happen in life. So wants and dislike. And the path to lessen our happiness, to lessen our suffering, is to understand, to accept things as they are, and to practice the Eightfold Path. So when I started doing meditation and learning a Buddhist teaching, I learned to basically understand my bad habits, behavior, thoughts, feelings, and emotion. Because the way to understand everything is to basically develop meditation to calm and still the mind. Because if we don't calm and still the mind, then the outflowing of the mind will just flow out through our mind to our five senses and out to the world. And when that flowing is not being kept aware or understand, then it can lead to a lot of unwholesome behavior, like too much greed, too much anger, too much ego or self. So when that happens, we may cause a lot of unhappiness to oneself and other people. So that's why it's so important to have those five moral precepts. The five precepts is so important. So we keep those five precepts in order to stop our unwholesome behavior. But the meditation is basically to understand the mind, to calm it down. When the mind is calm and it's peaceful and it's very still, we experience peace of mind and the freedom from our thoughts and especially our attachment to worldly things. Because if we're not free, then we will always controlled by the external senses for our five senses to the world. So so meditation is a form of stilling and calming the mind, but most important is freedom. When we have freedom, then we are truly at peace and happy. If we don't have freedom, then we are controlled from the external form of the world, and we are controlled by our addiction to basically our sense desires, food, material wealth, relationship. So it just goes on, and we become a craving and become a slave to our attachment. That's why meditation is very important. The more we understand ourselves, the more we understand our thoughts, the more we understand our emotion, our feelings, and our memory, then we understand the cause and condition. And once we understand ourselves clearly, then we can be fully free. In Buddhism, we have this concept of non-self. We believe that all our unhappiness and problem comes from the self. And if there's a self, there's my problem, my ownership, my issue, my defilements, my rights. I'm not treated fairly. I did so much. People always pick on me. People put me down. And all these things go on and on and on. My rights. Yes. But when you look deeper into deep meditation, you realize there's no one there. It is just a process. And the more we meditate, the more we calm the mind, the more we still the mind, then we understand these are basically just cause and condition. So when this cause and condition is actually solely realized through insight to the way the things are, then we can learn to let go. And when we let go, we have a sense of freedom through the mind that's completely still, fully aware and understand. Because when the mind is very calm and very peaceful, when thoughts arise, we know these thoughts is not conducive to our practice. And also, if we don't understand our thoughts and our feelings, then it can basically run basically out of control. That's why the Buddha say a uncontrolled mind is a great source of suffering. A well-controlled mind is a great source of happiness. So you can see the result with what's happening in the world. So this outflowing is quite important. So it's only through our precept, our meditation, and also our study on the Buddhist teaching. Because in order to develop wisdom, we have to keep those five precepts and to let things go. to calm the mind. Because not without calming the mind, then we don't see things clearly. Because when we have wisdom, we understand the harm and the danger of not being aware of our action, our speech, and our thinking. Yep. When the mind is peaceful, we see things clearly. So wisdom has to be developed, yep, through a practice. Yeah. It's always good to have similes. Because Ajahn Brahm was saying that he was one time doing some work in the monastery, doing a lot of work, building the monastery in the early days. So one of the buildings that I started building in the beginning wasn't the kutis or the kutis or monks dwelling. It was basically a shower block for people to basically take a shower. Because when you live in Western Australia, especially in winter, it can be very extremely cold. Yes, so if you don't have a shower block, then you can take a freezing bath in the Dhamma in the monastery. So the shower block, evolution block, was one of the first buildings that Ajahn Brahm started building. So it was doing a lot of work, working in the morning, evening, and sometimes in the evening, in the afternoon, evening, doing the shower block. So it was laying bricks, and Ajahn Brahm is a bit of a perfectionist. He likes to do things perfectly, and he's got really good mindfulness. So he'll put bricks nicely, and one time he was doing the brick. 2 bricks got out of place, and it was set. And when he saw the brick, he really wanted to remove the bricks with a slash hammer or even a dynamite and blow it up. So he asked Ajahn Jagaro, that was the abbot at the time, if he can knock down the brick and start all over again. And Ajahn Jagaro say, no, don't do that. Venerable 101 soul, just continue as he is. So every time Ajahn Brahm will go down there to continue doing the bricks, he'll start laying it. But his mind will always be drawn to those 2 bad bricks. And it was giving a lot unhappiness, and even it was finding hard to sleep at night, just thinking of the 2 bad bricks. And Ajahn was saying that sometimes when there was guests coming in, he always avoid taking the guests to the wall where the 2 bad bricks is. And one time, he did took a person there to show him what was happening in the monastery, and the person say, "Wow, this brick of wall is so beautiful." And Ajahn will say, "Are you blind? Don't you see those 2 bad bricks?" And the person say, "No, I can see the 999 good bricks." The Ajahn stopped and thought, to himself, "Yep, it was just way too caught up with the 2 bad bricks." Actually, when he looks at the whole wall, there was 999 good bricks. There's only the 2 bad bricks. So that was a good insight, and understanding for Ajahn Brahm. So he looks in life and he realizes no matter how bad things are, and you should always reflect on all the good things that he done through his monastic practice in the monastery. Even if things don't work out well, sometimes we learn to let it go. And one time, one of the brickies was with Ajahn Brahm. They say sometimes when you have things that's not perfect, we call that a feature. So a feature, you see people pay more for a feature. Yep. Yeah. So when I heard about the 2 bad bricks, every time I go down to the shower block, I'll look around to find the 2 bad bricks. It was hard to locate, but later I did locate it next to the laundry room, a bit further up, and I saw 2 bad bricks. There was just one was slightly out of shape, and one was sticking out a little bit. And I go, wow, okay, so those are the 2 bad bricks. But I look around the whole place, I can't find any bad bricks, but only there was 2 bad bricks in one location, right, roughly in the middle, and middle of the wall, maybe about 2 meters higher. And they didn't look so bad. It was just slightly off. Yeah, but basically Ajahn Brahm say that caused a lot of suffering for him until someone say it's not too bad. There's only 2 bad bricks, but the rest of the 999 is good bricks. Yes. Yeah, so that's a good simile on our thoughts and life, how things can actually drive us really unhappy if we concentrate on the negative things. Because in life, things are always changing. It's always impermanent. Sometimes good things happen, sometimes bad things happen. So when good things happen, we enjoy it, we cherish it. But when bad things happen, we learn to let it go, because we know things will pass. But there was a story when there's a young prince that actually become a young king, and every time you have celebration, parties in his kingdom, so when things are doing well, he will enjoy it, and when things not doing well in the colony or in the kingdom, the young king will become very, very upset and sad, and also depressed and miserable. So one of his advisors told him, this too will pass, because there will be good times and there will be bad times. So he gave him a ring, and every time when things go down and when things are not doing well, the young king will look at the ring and he will say, this too will pass. So in life, things are always very uncertain. So you look at history, you look back maybe a few hundred years, history has always been up and down, but recently we do have a lot of period of good times after the Second World War. I mean, things because of the coronavirus thing, a lot of scientists are saying that with the world, we are actually really, really overdue for a crisis like that happening. So a lot of scientists were saying that this is actually due, but they don't know when it will happen. So when things happen, we just need to learn to accept things and learn to adapt. So the good thing about with Buddhist practitioner, when things are not doing so well, we tend to just withdraw back and have a quiet time at home or in the monastery, and really just cut down our duties and responsibility. Being a monastic, we don't really have to have so much. We need a robe, a simple kuti in the forest, food, and medicine. These are the main 4 requisites as a monastic is required in order to practice. And then our kutis are actually quite simple. Because of the building code, we need to build it up to a certain standard. So some of the monks come down to Newbury Buddhist Monastery and they realize, wow, some of these kutis are pretty good. We have power, we have floor heating, and we have even have toilet and a shower in the kutis. But the kutis are very small. It's like even smaller than a bedroom. Yes. Yeah, but we're trying to keep it as simple as possible. Because of the building code, we can't build it just like a simple shed. In some monastery, it's like a simple shed, just 4 walls, a window, a door, and a simple roof. But I think in Victoria, if we build a shed and the monks live there, I don't think our supporter will be too happy or thrilled. And if the council come over and see the monks living in the shed, they won't be too happy. Okay, so yeah, I do admit the kutis are built in the high standard. Yes. And Ajahn Brahm one time did joke about saying having a monk is like having a dog, because a dog would be happy to just have whatever they have, and also easy maintenance. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's true. When I go to travel to like India or other Buddhist country, some of the place that I stay is like so simple, and the food is so simple. It's like almost like being a dog. You just live in a simple empty room, with an old mattress, and when you go for Binder Butler, you just eat whatever is given to a monastic. So sometimes we do live like a dog overseas. I'm not saying that we are dogs. We just the lifestyle can be like that. So Ajahn Brahm was saying that as a monastic, is as easy as the maintenance as the dog. Maybe Ajahn is just joking around, pulling our legs. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's also a good simile on life. So there was an old farmer who was living somewhere in Asia, and he has a simple farm, and it was just him and his family. And one day, his horse ran away and escaped and ran off into the forest, into the hills. And his friend within the village say, "Oh, that's really bad. That's pretty not good, bad that things like that happen." And the old farmer say, "Well, maybe." And the next day, the horse came back with a group of other horses. And his friend came and looked at the horse and say, "Oh, that's really, really good. It's good that your horse came back with a group of other horses." And the old farmer saying, maybe. Yeah. Then the next day, his youngest son tried to ride one of the horses that came in the forest. They came from the forest, and was trying to tame and ride the horse. And somehow the horse jumped up, and he fell down and broke his arm. And his friend came over from the village and said, "Oh, that's really unfortunate that happened, and your son broke his arm." And the old farmer said, "Well, maybe." Yeah. Then a week later, one of the officials from the king came over to the village and said that there is a war that's brewing next door to the kingdom, and we need all the able, young, fit men to join the army and to fight for the kingdom. And he went and rounded up, what's the word? I think there's a word in English. It's called, you have to enlist, and enlist in the army. So he was looking for everyone to round up. So when he came to the old farmer's youngest son, they say, "Oh, we can't enlist you because you have a broken arm." Yeah. So things are always changing. Even misfortune become fortune. Yeah. So and the old farmer say, maybe too. Okay. Yeah. So this is a nice simile on life. Yeah. So the monastery is basically in lockdown. The whole of Victoria is on lockdown too. But during the Wasa, actually the monks and nuns are basically in lockdown. For 3 months, we don't leave the monastery. And if we do leave the monastery, it's only for emergency, like going to the doctors, or if anything that happened that we have to attend. But things like that is quite rare, because usually for monks, if we do go to leave the monastery in the Wasa, it's usually to see someone in hospital, they are sick or dying, attend a funeral, or any urgency that need to be attended in the Buddhist Society of Victoria. But due to lockdown, you see most of the monks and nuns will stay in the monastery. And if we do go out, it has to be something like emergency, a medical emergency. Yeah, so I've been reflecting in the monastery during the Wasa. Everything is slowed down. I mean, we do have guests coming in once in a while, and also offering dana. But due to the tight restriction, all guests are not really coming to the monastery, and also we don't have people coming in for dana. So it's good. It's really quiet. But I think we still have the delivery from caterers to come over with permits. But it's great. So when it's nice and quiet, we can basically slow down with our external duties, where we can have more time and concentrate in our time to stay by ourselves, have more solitude, more time to practice. And we can practice and slow things down, then we calm the mind, we still the mind, we deepen our meditation. Because after the Vasa, you see we're very busy with work and building and set up the monastery and teaching and also talking to lay people. But during the Vasa, you see a special time where we have more time just to rest and to practice and to study and to be by ourselves and to be with nature, enjoy the forest and also enjoy the animals. One thing I really enjoy is coming to Newbury Buddhist Monastery is just looking out into the horizon to view the forest. You see the kangaroos, you see the wombats at nights, and during the day you see the eagle, the wedge-tailed eagles, and they soar really high and silent. So one thing I really miss when I go to Perth is not seeing the eagles and also the wombats. Yeah. As the monastic and the lay people staying here, everything's become calm and settled, and really enjoy nature. I remember the first year that I came here, I used to go for a walk, and we see the kangaroos, and they just see us and just run away, run for their life. But the monastic has been here for quite a while. So every time I walk back to my kuti, I notice there'll be a mob of kangaroos, and they'll be just hanging around and just watching us walk past to our kuti. So even the kangaroos realize that we are not any harm or danger to them. But you see outside the monastery, if they see a person, they'll run for their life. But in the monastery, they know they're quite safe, and also they are safe from danger. And they know that most of the monastic and residents that stay in the monastery mean no harm to them. So we do realize the longer we stay here, the animals in the monastery get quite used to the monastic and lay people here. And they're not afraid, they're not running for their life. And also it's quite interesting, and if things are going wrong out in the world, people might get a bit upset and they might voice their unhappiness. But within the monastery, when things go wrong, like if there's a massive storm, trees come down, or it might snow for like 1 or 2 days, and I don't see the kangaroos jumping up and down too much and complaining or processing too much. So it's really good when you stay in the monastery, you really enjoy the nature of the forest and also the animals. Yeah. Okay, so so this is basically a short talk. So please stay at home, stay safe, and learn to become an island to oneself. Because when you become an island to yourself, you're safe and you're protected. You protect yourself and you protect other people. So it's same with the monastic. 1 hour training is to become an island to ourselves. Okay, so we finished the talk. So I'd like to ask, is there any question and answer? Oh, no questions. So that's good. So I don't know. So please ask for forgiveness if it's a really bad talk, or maybe it's a good talk. Yes. Okay. So please take care and stay safe at home. When you stay at home, when you stay by yourself, you can practice more, and you practice so you take care of yourself and you take care of other people. Okay. Thank you, and have a good morning. Okay, and it's lunchtime for the monastic. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.